What are the best and worst ways to train for boxing? Well, in this video, I'm going to rank 20 of the most common boxing training methods on a tier list, from S for savage to F, forget about it. And at the end, I'm going to crown one of these the absolute best S tier plus, and one pool method that's getting through into the trash can that you will never use again. All right, let's get one of the worst ones out of the way, starting with taking punches from your coach. Now, this training method has been going viral on social media, and this is absolutely pathetic. People think if you're getting punched hard in the face, this is going to help your punch resistance, but in fact, it does the complete opposite. Your brain is getting rattled around your skull. And this is what causes concussion and, even worse, brain damage. So by letting a coach punch you in the head, it's going to slow down your reaction, slow down your hand speed, your punching power, and everything else. And now if all of them things slow down, you're going to get punched in the head even more. So that one is an F tier. Now moving on to the next one is speedball. I actually love hitting the speedball. There is lots of benefits to it. It's going to help you with your timing and your reactions. But a big one is your shoulder endurance. When you're hitting the speedball for 3 minutes at a time, you've got to keep your hands up, and this is going to really help you with your shoulder endurance. I'm actually a fan of speedball, but when we're putting this on a scale of training, what's important and not so important, this is going right there at a C tier. Now, next up, we've got pad work. Now, if you've trained boxing and you've hit the pads, I'm sure you absolutely love Mittwork. This was one of, if not my favorite way of training. But does that mean, because we all love it, that it's great? Well, this depends on a few factors. There is some absolutely unbelievable boxing trainers out there that's great at holding the mitts. And then there is some absolutely terrible trainers out there that is really bad at holding the mitts. And if you're working with them bad trainers who are letting you get away with throwing a jab and dropping your hand, or letting you do these 50 punch combinations where your hands are down and you're slipping and you're rolling and you're feeling like you're amazing, that can really affect your performance on the mitts. But what we're going to be talking about here is the higher level stuff. Now, with correct mitt work, the benefits are massive. You're going to improve your technique, the speed of your punches, the power of your punches, your reactions, your head moving, your footwork, if your trainer's great and he's getting you moving around the ring as well. This is why I'm ranking mitt work at an A tier. This is one of the best training methods that you can do. It's not the S tier, we've got some of that in a little bit. It's an A tier. Next, we're going to move on to one type of shadow boxing, and this is shadow boxing with heavy dumbbells. Now, I'm actually a huge fan of shadow boxing with dumbbells if the weight is around 1 to 2 pounds, where you will hold them for 45 seconds when you're shadow boxing, drop them for 45, hold them for 45, drop them for 45. That is fine. But what I see way too much is people using 6, 7, 8 pound dumbbells in shadow boxing. Now, what this does, it absolutely destroys your boxing technique. Think about it. If I've got a really heavy dumbbell and I punch it out, I'm bringing it back down to here. Yes, it's going to help with some shoulder endurance, but it's absolutely ruining your technique. And as well, when you're shadowboxing with heavy dumbbells, you've got a really high risk of injury, not just in your shoulders, but in your lower back as well. Now, my verdict for shadowboxing with heavy dumbbells is F tier as well. You should never be doing this. Last thing I want is you to get injured. Now, moving on to sparring, but we've got a couple of different methods of sparring that I'm going to get into. This one I'm going to talk about right now is technical sparring. When you're not in there trying to have a fight, trying to beat up the person in front of you, but instead you're working on specific things. And them specific things that you're working on is the things that you need to improve on. And when you're doing this and you know that if your punch doesn't land and you make a mistake, you're not going to get hit really hard and end up with a bad head because it's technical sparring, not hard sparring. This is where you learn. This is where you get better. And this is one of the best types of training you can do, especially if you're going to be getting in there and having a fight. This is going to help you with your defense, your offense, your footwork, your head movement, your reactions, your timing, your boxing IQ. Like everything in your boxing game, if you've got a great training partner who can do technical sparring with you, you're just going to, really improve. That's why technical sparring is an S tier in improving in your boxing training. And we'll get into hard sparring in a little bit. But next up, we've got traditional shadow boxing. I'm not talking about the heavy dumbbells. I'm talking about regular shadow boxing, which has been in the sport of boxing since the sport of boxing was invented, whenever that bloody was. When you're shadow boxing correctly, by the way, the benefits are massive. If you're doing it incorrectly, you're going to, get worse at the sport. But I'm talking about the good stuff here. Everything I'm talking about is when you're doing it the right way. Shadow boxing is great for a number of things. Like, it's a great extension of your warm-up after you've done your boxing warm-up, warming up your specific muscles for your training session, so you're going to get the most out of your training because you've done a great extension of your warm-up with shadow boxing. It's great for technique. Let's just say if you've got a bad habit where every time you throw a 1-2 hook, you're dropping this non-punching hand, you can use your shadow boxing rounds to really focus in on the mistake that you're making. It's great for game plans. When I was fighting, I would always visualize my opponent in front of me in my shadow boxing round. So, for example, if he was a tall southpaw, I would be working on moving away from his left hand, putting the pressure on. If I was boxing a shorter opponent in my next fight, I would be visualizing the shorter opponent coming forward, and I'd be working on my long punches. Also, shadow boxing, you don't need any equipment for. You can do it anywhere at all, and it's a great workout. Now, I've got on my list here, what I've done before this video, that shadow boxing is an A tier. But after we're just thinking about it right now, that right there is going up to the S tier category. Shadow boxing is amazing when it's done right. Now moving on to the next thing. You might have seen this training method. It's been going viral on social media, and it's a device called a light boxer. They've been putting lots of money into ad spends, getting in front of people who like boxing, and the ads have been really good for this machine. What it does, it plays music and you punch the lights to the beat. When the lights come on, you punch it, which is, I guess, helping with reactions, and as well, it's giving you a good workout. Now, this machine is not used to help people get better at boxing, because it's absolutely not. In fact, it's doing the opposite. This is going to make you worse at boxing if you're using this machine, because you're not focused on your good form, your good technique. All you're focused on is getting your fist to that light when the light comes on, and then to the next one. Yeah, it'll be good for a workout, but as for helping you get better at boxing, even at its highest level, this, my friend, is going to the F tier category. If you want to improve at boxing, don't be using one of them machines. Now, I've just ruined my chances of getting a sponsorship with that company, but it's my honest opinion. Now, moving on to hard sparring. You know the type when you see people going toe to toe in the gym and they're trying to knock each other out and they're really having a fight in there. I did it myself way too often. Now, this actually does have some benefits to it. Like when you're fighting, you're not going to be technical fighting with your person in front of you. He's going to be thrown at 100% speed, 100% power, 100% intensity. So what you're doing is preparing yourself for this fight. But that being said, having fights in the gym has ruined more people long-term than anything else in boxing. It's ruined more fighters than actual fights because they're leaving it all in the gym. Having hard sparring all the time is not necessary if you're having a fight coming up. In fact, you should never be going 100% in sparring unless you're in there with someone who is way more experienced at you and he is moving around and you're brand new to the sport and you can try and go for it with him, but he shouldn't be going hard at you. So although I'm not a huge fan of hard sparring, I'm not going to put this at the F tier. I'm actually going to put this at the D tier. Now moving on to the double end bag. When I started boxing at the age of 10 years old, I remember going in the gym and seeing the lads who'd been training for a long time hitting the double end bag and they were blasting it and they were looking amazing. I was like, oh wow, I want to go that. And then I tried to hit it and I was absolutely useless. It was so hard to use because it's working on a lot of things. Like one of the main things it's good for is your timing. Because when you hit that ball and it starts moving around, you go to hit it again, you're going to miss, right? So you've got to get your timing perfect to be able to hit the double end bag and get into rhythms with it. Over time, I practiced it and then I perfected it and then I fell in love with the double end bag. If you've got a chance to use one of these, you really should use it. Because like I said, the benefits are massive. Your speed, your timing, your accuracy, your conditioning, your footwork, because you should be moving around it as well. Your defense, because you can throw the punches and use your head to slip it. I've done a full video breaking down exactly how to use the double end bag, if you want to check that out. And other than Mittwork, I think hitting the double end bag was my favorite thing to do. And that's why I'm going to rank it as an A tier. Now moving on to jump rope. This has been around the sport, again, since the sport has bloody started. All fighters jump rope, and there's a reason for it. When you're jumping rope, it's great for your hand, eye, and foot coordination, which you need if you want to be good at boxing. Most boxers are using the jump rope as part of their warm-up, and me too. As a professional boxer, I would do 12 minutes of non-stop jump rope after my warm-up for every boxing session I did. And it's great for your conditioning, it's great for weight control if you're making weight, and as well, great for that extension of the warm-up. Now, this list is all about getting better at boxing. Do I rank this really up there for getting better at boxing? No. I'm going to give this a C tier for improving your boxing. That being said, I think you should definitely be jump roping in your boxing sessions. I'm moving on to another type of sparring, but this time it's shoulder and body sparring, where you're not hitting each other in the head, but instead just the shoulders and the body. And this is the only type of sparring I do now. I don't want to be punched in the head ever again. So this is the next best thing. When you are doing your shoulder and body sparring, if you've got a good training partner with you, you can go hard with this. And this is actually the closest thing that you can get to fighting or sparring without getting punched in the face. You will get an unbelievable workout from shoulder and body sparring, but there is a big problem with shoulder and body sparring, why I'm not going to be ranking this as a S tier or an A tier, and that is you develop bad habits when you're doing this. Now, the reason being is they're not trying to hit your head. So we end up putting our hands across our body and our shoulders like this and leaving our head wide open. So when you're doing that, you're going to develop bad habits. But again, I'm not looking to be a fighter anymore, so I love doing this. It's going to help me with my conditioning, but it's not going to get me better at boxing. And that is why I'm ranking shoulder and body sparring as a C tier. Moving on to the next thing is hitting the water ball. Water balls are so popular now, especially in boxing fitness gyms. And these have kind of been promoted to have less impact on your wrists and your elbows and your shoulders, because rather than hitting, let's say, a heavy bag or a wall bag, now you're hitting a water ball. But I actually find that this is hurting me even more than hitting a heavy bag, because that rock hard, if you think about water, it's hard. Then it's made with thick rubber. So yeah, water balls, I'm not a huge fan, to tell you the truth. But that being said, you can do something on a water ball that you can't do on a heavy bag, and that is throw uppercuts. Now, you can't really throw uppercuts on a heavy bag, but you can on a water ball. But then the con side of that is you can't throw body shots on a water ball, which I love throwing body shots. I think everyone should be learning body shots. I would rather throw a body shot than an uppercut. We throw more body shots in boxing than we do uppercuts. Now, if you love a water ball, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I'm not going to give it a S tier or an A tier, but that's going in the B tier category. Now, moving on from the water ball to something very similar called the wrecking ball. Now we're talking, my friend, because for me, this is way better. This has got softer material like a heavy bag. And you can do everything you can do on a water ball, but on the wrecking ball. I can hit it hard, I can hit it fast, I can let it swing and use my feet. So for the wrecking ball, I'm going to give that one extra notch than the water ball and rank that one in A tier. Now moving down the list to a Cobra Bag. Now, I've used this a few times. I seen Ryan Garcia blasting away on it, and I was like, wow, that looks amazing. I want to try one of them. So I ordered one for my gym, and I used it, and I was like, this is terrible. This is horrible. You can't punch it hard, and yes, it flops backwards and forwards, but for me, it just was never going to help me improve at boxing. You can move around it a little bit, and to be honest, after hitting this for 1 minute, I was like, this is boring. I don't like it. I think with the Cobra Bag or the Cobra Ball, whatever you call it, it's not going to help you improve at boxing. It's going to make you get in bad habits because you're so focused on trying to hit it fast and look flashy like a Ryan Garcia, you're going to pick up bad habits. Yes, it might help you with your reactions and some speed punches, But I'm sorry to say this, my friend, I'm going to rank a Cobra Bag to help you get better as an F tier. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the body shield. Now, with a body shield, you need a coach. I actually put one on a tree during COVID, and I whacked it about a little bit there. But really, you need a coach for using one of these. And if the coach is good and he's got the mitts on, you're going to get an unbelievable workout. When I was pro, I would be using the body shield with Bobby Rimmer, my coach, all the time. And it was my favorite way of training. Not only are you getting sharp because of the mitts, moving your head, you're moving your feet, but you're working on power punches to the body. On the mitts, you can do that, but not like a body shield where you can get around the side of the elbow and really blast them punches in. You can change the angle faster and you can really throw them punches in. And the body shield with mitts, with a good trainer like Bobby Rimmer, this was one of, if not my favorite ways of training. So I'm going to be ranking that as an A tier. Now, that was one of my favorite ways of training as a fighter, but one of my favorite ways of training right now is by doing VR boxing, a game called Thrill of the Fight, where I put a headset on and I fight people from around the world, and I can do this from my own home. It's a great workout that you can do. Is it going to get you better at boxing? Well, it depends on how you're training, how you're using this. Most people who are using this, they're not really focused on good form and technique. They're focused on beating the person in front of them. And if you're not focused on good form and technique, guess what? You're not going to get good form and technique. You need to be focused on that. For a workout, this is an S tier. For fun, this is an S tier. For you, helping you get better at boxing, even though I really love this game, I'm ranking this as a C tier. Now we've got 4 more things that I'm going to rank before I go over the best one and the worst one. But I want to say, you might be noticing that I'm not talking about things like lifting weights for boxing, ab work, running, conditioning training for boxing, different boxing drills. I'm not talking about any of them. I'm going to do them on a future video. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, turn on your bell notifications to see them videos when they come out. Also, if you are liking this video, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. It'll really help me channel and it'll tell me to do more of this type of video. Now moving on to the next one, which I've missed out, is heavy bag training. Again, this has been around forever. And I've thought a lot about heavy bag training. And there's been times when I've been in the gym and I've been hitting the heavy bag and I've thought to myself, how strange is this? If you're an alien out of space and you're looking down and you see someone hitting that heavy bag, you must be thinking, what the hell is this person doing? And I've actually punched the heavy bag probably more than you and anyone watching this video, because what I did in March 2025 is I did a Guinness World Record of the most fully extended punches on a heavy bag in 24 hours. Yes, I punched the heavy bag for 24 bloody hours. So if there's anyone that knows about hitting the heavy bag, I think it's me. Now, is it good for you? Well, if you're working on good form, good technique, defense, footwork, your conditioning, heavy bags is unbelievable. You can set specific goals for your training sessions just on a heavy bag. If you have got bad footwork, you can work on that on the heavy bag. If you've got bad defense, you can work on that on the heavy bag. If you've got slow punches, weak punches, bad head movement, you're not turning your hips, you're dropping your non-punch hand, any problem that you've got in boxing, you can work on that on the heavy bag. You might be thinking, well, I can't work on counter punches on the heavy bag because someone's not punching me. You can, mate. You can visualize punches coming at you. You can get a wheel, and come back with counter punches of your own. The heavy bag is an unbelievable tool in boxing. You should be doing it. That's why I'm ranking this, my friend, as an S tier. Now moving on to the last 3 things. Now we want to talk about training at home. This could be a S tier. It could be a F tier. This all depends on a few things. Number 1 is, what are you actually doing? If you are there and you're not pushing yourself and you're not having specific things that you're working on, training at home could make you worse at boxing. Or if you know exactly what you're working on, and I'll tell you how you can do that in a sec, this can be an S tier if you are working on the right things that's going to help you get better. And before I give this a ranking, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can do that. The first thing you've got to do is to be able to get better at home or without a coach in a gym. First, you've got to identify your mistakes. Then once you've got them, you've got to drill out any bad habits. Then you've got to evaluate everything that you're doing and making sure you're doing this in every session. Then once you've been doing that, you can analyze your mistakes and then you will level up. And to do this correctly, you've got to really write down the things that you're going to be working on every session. And I've got here, you see there, it's a sheet that I'll give you for free, as well as a video package where I break the ideal punching method down for you. Again, for free, no strings. I want to help you get better. Watch these videos, do this work, and turn your training, whether it's at home or in the gym without a coach, into an S-tier training session by identifying your mistakes and knowing what you've got to work on. You can either scan here, click the link below, and I'll send you this ideal punching method program for totally free. Because you haven't got my free video package yet, I've got a feeling that your training at home is not great and you're not working on the right things. So I'm going to be mean and rank this as an E and put this in the D category. Now moving on to the next thing. This is something that I did a little bit when I was training for the Olympics, but I wish we did it more. And it was using an agility ladder for footwork specific training. Now, if you don't know this, footwork is the key element of boxing training. If your feet are not good, your punches will not be good. Your reactions will not be good. Your power will not be good. Your energy output will probably not be good either. But once you fix your feet, everything in your boxing game will improve. I 100% guarantee you that. That's why working on the agility ladder, doing boxing specific drills is unbelievable for your overall boxing. And I'm ranking this as an S tier, my friend. Now moving on to the last one on this list before I tell you which is my favorite and which is my worst, is the slip ball. We've all seen Mike Tyson, like we see right here, moving his head fast and getting out of the way of this slip ball. And it's great. In boxing, you should be working on moving your head before and after every punch. Getting into the habits of being able to move your head all the time. And to do that, you've got to think about moving your head, then do it. Think about it and do it. Think about it and do it until you get to the point of being able to move your head without having to think about it. So using the slip ball, this is a lot of fun. It looks good on videos. I actually like doing it, but there's better ways of working on head movement than using a slip ball. Like you working on head movement in shadowboxing, on the heavy bag, on the mitts, on the bags. When you're thinking about your head moving all the time, you will be able to do it. Adding the slip ball in, yeah, it's going to help you a little bit, but it's not the be all and end all. I'm going to put that in as a C tier. Now, out of the S tier list, if I've got to choose one for the very best, I'm going to go with heavy bag training. When you're doing this correctly, especially if you're using the ideal punching method that I talked about earlier on, this will only help you get better at boxing. And if I had to pick one training method to be the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst, I'm sure you can guess what that one is. Letting your bloody coach punch you in the face. Them coaches should go to jail, my friend. But the thing that you should be working on most of all is getting better footwork. Because once you fix that, everything else in your game will improve. And I've created a boxing footwork academy that thousands of people have benefited from, and you can too. I give you step-by-step systems on how to improve your feet. You can click here and go and check out the Footwork Academy. Or if you want to stay on YouTube, you can watch this video next. It will really help you.